social mobility is linked to equality of opportunity, and it's ensuring that people have the same chances in life and access to whatever route they want to take, regardless of their starting life or their background. So, for example, 85% of 16 to 19-year-olds said that they felt they had to leave the area that they grew up in order to start their career, whatever that may be. And in the legal profession, you are 17 times more likely to become a lawyer if one of your parents is a lawyer.
Social mobility is important to me because I believe it increases the opportunities available to all to advance their careers, to get to where they want to get in life, irrespective of their backgrounds, whether that be they went to a state school or they were privately educated, whatever their colour, their race, their sexual orientation or their religious beliefs. The law in particular is perceived as an area in which perhaps it's not somewhere that people from different backgrounds may be able to progress as much as they'd like to, and I would like to see that change.
Social mobility is quite important to me. I come from a different background, I think, to the average lawyer. My father was born in Rangoon in Burma in 1935 and moved because of the Japanese invasion with World War II. Him and his family had to move to Singapore. He was one of 10, which meant his education was delayed. So when he moved to the UK, married my mum, it was really important to him to have an education because it's something that he didn't have. And I think as a child of an immigrant, you're there to get the opportunities that perhaps your parents didn't have.
I think it's about equal opportunities. I wouldn't be where I am if I didn't have opportunities that perhaps others don't have. And I recognise that in people, and I think it's really important, particularly in law, where we are representing, helping people from all walks of life. And I think the people that we have should represent that as well.
So for me, over my 20 years of working in the law, I've found that many clients gel and work better with different people. And I find that in order to connect best with our clients, because ultimately clients want to work with someone that they can form a relationship with, it really helps to have a diverse range of different voices, views, opinions, backgrounds and thoughts on different matters. There might be a particular client that I get on very well with and have a lot in common with, but another client might work much better with another colleague of mine. And so by having that really diverse range of opinions, thoughts, backgrounds, etc. within our team, we can best meet the needs of our clients.
In terms of my education, I took a fairly traditional route. So I did a 3-year law degree at Warwick, and then I did my LPC at Cardiff, and I moved back home. In terms of actually getting your foot in the door and the work experience, I handed out CVs to local firms in my town, and I got the opportunity to do some work experience at a small high street practice doing personal injury and clinical negligence. Paralegal there for a few years before I moved to a bigger firm at Bristol, where I continued to paralegal, and then I cross-qualified to become a solicitor through SILEX, so I didn't do a traditional training contract route. The whole process of applying for training contracts was really difficult, and I found an alternative route. I've only ever solely done clinical negligence, and that was the route I took, so I became a solicitor there before joining Boys Turner about 6 years ago.
How did I start? Well, I was a late starter. So not your traditional leave school, go to uni. I was a late starter. I had children already, and I'd kind of worked my way up to the top of what I was doing at that time. And I just thought, what else can I do? And just talking to people around me, they said, well, perhaps law's the thing to do. And I had lots of self-doubt. I hadn't gone to university at that stage. And I thought to myself, oh, this is a bit scary. Law's a big, scary sort of, area, and it's very clever people go into law. So I started with the Open University, and it was great, the Open University, because I could do it while I was still working, juggling, full-time job with children, but that's the beauty of the Open University, and evening courses and things like that, which is, available now. So I did that, and it was just one module at a time. Took forever to qualify, but it was just dipping my toe in and just seeing, could I actually study at that sort of level? Was I capable of it? And up until then, I just thought, no, I can't do this. But it was just one module at a time. It took 6 years, took twice as long to complete, but I did it. And then the next thing was the scary thing of getting the training contract.
So I, again, didn't have a normal start in law. I went to college and then I left college, took a gap year, and I decided that standard university, brick university, wasn't for me. So I took a bit of time out, did some traveling, and moved out into my own property. I kind of wanted to gain some independence. So I did that for a year, and then I decided that I did actually want to continue with my legal career. So I looked into the Open University, which is obviously a distance learning online, and I decided that alongside working full-time, I would study part-time for my law degree. So that took about 6-7 years of studying hard, part-time, in the evenings, in the weekends, really putting the work in to get to my graduation, which was last year. And I finally graduated with the degree that I wanted, which was obviously a minimum that you need for a solicitor, which is a 2-1. So that's kind of how I got into my legal career. Whilst I was working in hospitality to start with, I did find an opportunity come up to gain an experience in a law firm. So I then started as a legal receptionist there and just worked my way up to a paralegal level.
So, as I said, I didn't know anybody that was a lawyer. It was a careers teacher at school that just suggested that maybe law would be a good degree for me to do, just because I didn't know what to do. Like I said, I didn't have any sort of role models in my family. And so I did that. I went to university, loved the course, managed to get a training contract at a firm in Reading, and that was it really.
For somebody that's considering a career in the law, decide first of all what it is that you want to do, because you don't necessarily need to be a lawyer. And if you do want to be a lawyer, what in areas of law are there that you're interested in, because it's such a huge diverse field. So you need to decide what interests you, what gets you fired up, and then perhaps maybe contact local firms, see if you can do a bit of work experience, just go along and have a chat with local lawyers, have a look at what your local college, your uni is offering you, because obviously going to university isn't going to be a financially viable option for everybody, but there are other ways you can work through it. There are apprenticeships, some firms will sponsor you, you can start off, if you can get in as a junior, even if you start off doing the photocopying, if you prove yourself and show you've got that ability, the firm will certainly a firm like Boyce Turner will be more than encouraging and help you.
And I think anyone that is looking to make a career in the law, an element of luck is required because it is very competitive. But I'd also say that the harder you work, the luckier you get. The more letters that you write, the more work experience you get, the more people you impress when you're doing the work experience, the more likely it is that those doors will open up for you. So I'd say don't think that it isn't for you, because it is. And secondly, work hard. Give yourself the opportunity to be lucky.
It's not the easiest or the most glamorous job in the world, or it's not the best paid job in the world, which is what you think when you're starting out as a teenager or when you're thinking about careers. But it is a very rewarding job, especially in the work that I do, medical negligence. It feels like you're making a difference to somebody's life, and that is what makes me feel happy, actually.
I would say just get as much experience as possible and don't belittle the sort of jobs that you think might not get recognised, because there's transferable skills. So even if you're working, in a local law centre or a shop or anywhere, it's about talking to people and sorting out, answers to problems, finding solutions to things, and seeing what skills you can get to sort of cross over into law and selling yourself in that way. I think that's really important, and to take any opportunity that comes your way, just go for it.
For me, it's really to just be curious, be interested, be passionate about the things that interest you. And I think certainly when I look back on how I was when I started out, I was sort of not ashamed of my background, but didn't really broadcast it. And I think it's really important just to be really proud of who you are and where you come from, and the skills, recognise the skills that have got you to where you are, because those are as important, if not more important, than really good grades sometimes.
think I would focus on improving access to the profession from a younger age. So in much the same way that there's often public sector professionals going into schools, such as when I was in school, we always had police officers talk to us about their jobs and their lives and such. I think it would be really impactful to have members of the legal community go into schools and do the exact same thing. Just talk to kids at that younger, perhaps more impressionable age about the pathways into law and their role.
So I think making ourselves part of the community, so attending fairs at local schools, getting involved with the careers officers at state schools, you know, this is where we are, this is what we do, letting people see that, oh, there are people that look like me. That is somewhere where I can work and I'd feel comfortable, because that's the whole point. Nobody wants to go to work and feel like they're this little person and everybody else is swimming in the opposite direction. You all want to be swimming in the same direction. And whilst, you know, you're not coming to work to be best buddies with everybody, you do want to be able to get on with the people that you work with and feel part of that team. And everyone, irrespective of their start in life, whatever they believe in, whatever their colour is, that's something that I think is a given that we should all have that opportunity to do.
So one of the things that I'm very mindful of at the moment is that many law firms focus their recruitment and their outreach to people who are at university already, so undergraduate programs, whether that's by going and staging debating competitions or offering internships for those in their second or third years of the university to try and come in and get some work experience there. But of course, we're seeing a higher degree of individuals now looking at the apprenticeship route to get into the law. And of course, many of those people who are looking to do that are doing so because perhaps, for whatever reason, they don't want to go to university. That could be because of the costs incurred through going down that route, or it could be other reasons as well. So by offering internships, firms can widen the net, if you like, and they give a broader range of individuals the opportunity to get into the law. But of course, if you're an 18-year-old, perhaps you've just done your law A-level, how do you get that experience? How do you even know that you're going to like it if you start? Studying the law is one thing, but actually working in the law is something completely different. We've seen also post-pandemic, it's really difficult for businesses to offer work experience to people. We're not in the office as much as we used to be, so that's much more challenging to offer something that's valuable to individuals. We've had people who've come in and done work experience at 18, 19-year-olds, and in speaking to them, we've discovered that this is the first time they've ever been into an office. And so it's really challenging if you're a bright individual who's 18, you've just got an A star in your law A-level, you're really keen in taking a career in the law, but you don't want to go to university. But an apprenticeship is 6 years, and you're then committing yourself to perhaps doing a job that, although in theory you think sounds like a good idea, but you've never done it before, you've never been in an office before, so how do you know? So I think businesses definitely need to do more at widening those opportunities for people to come in and experience what it's like to be in a law firm and not focus so much on recruiting from universities.
I think it's all about culture and leadership, and you do need those on the senior management team to be ambassadors really for EDI and social mobility generally.
I think you have to lower the financial threshold to encourage people to join the legal profession and to make it possible. The courses, the traditional ways and the courses of getting into a legal profession are very expensive. They're really intense, so when you're working alongside doing one of these courses, you can basically lead to just burnout because you're so tired. I am hopeful for the future. I think this is changing with the different routes like apprenticeships, and I think there are wider conversations being had about social mobility and equality of access to the profession. Boys Turner, we are a signatory to the Social Mobility Pledge along with 700 other companies, which shows that there is an ongoing conversation about this and there is an ongoing commitment to widen access to the legal profession.